Hello, Canucks fans, and welcome back to another episode of Canucks Conversation, brought to you today by Greta. The home of our electric watch parties, Greta is Canucks Army's spot to catch the game throughout the season, during the playoffs, the Cup final, and also is our place to chill in the off season. Harmon, Greta is a great place to go before, after, and during Canucks games.
Always a blast.
Always a blast. A 10-minute walk from Rogers Arena. What more can you ask for? Be sure to go check them out. Greta Bar YVR. My name is Dave Pedrelli. That is Harmon Dial. Our technical producer is Grady Sass. And our intern is Lachlan Irvin. And it's a busy show today, folks, as we head into our own little All-Star break. This is our final show until Monday, when we will return to break down the festivities of that All-Star game that we are going to be drafting teams for today. But before we do that, we're going to get to Jeff Paterson right off the hop here. We're going to get to J-Pat very quickly here because look at him, eager beaver. J-Pat is already in the building, and J-Pat's appearance today is brought to you by HSBC World Rugby Sevens, Western Canada's largest sporting event. This year is the 9th time the event has visited Vancouver as part of the World Rugby Sevens series. From February 23rd to 25th, grab your friends and your best costume and head on down to BC Place. Tickets are on sale now at vansevens.com, starting from just $40 per day. And if you want to go, we've got a 4-pack of tickets for the entire weekend to give away. Text hashtag sevens, that's SEVENS, to 778-402-9680 for your chance to win. We'll be giving away a 4-pack each week until the event, so make sure that you text hashtag sevens to 778-402-9680. Without further ado, let's bring him in. Jeff Paterson. Jeff, I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be a short hit today because we are drafting All-Star teams. So I'm going to start there for you. Elias Pettersson has been named a co-captain with Quinn Hughes and Jack Hughes' absence. You are Michael Bublé, Jeff.
I am?
You are.
Okay.
Who are you selecting with your first pick?
I think I put team allegiances aside and grabbed Nathan MacKinnon. The way that he's playing, that much time and space out there, I don't know how invested he's going to be, but I don't know. I've always just been a huge fan of the way that he plays when there are actually stakes on the line here. Again, this is a weekend showcase exhibition thing, but you could never go wrong, and you could do worse than taking Nate Dogg. So I think if I get the first overall pick, I'm taking Nate MacKinnon.
I love it. And you're looking at it as a pool. I like that. Nate MacKinnon's a captain, but I like your thinking that you're going to force the NHL to move a captain. No. You don't have to correct yourself.
I was distracted by Harm's distinguished outfit, I think is what happened here.
Harm does have a good outfit on today. Jeff, we just did a rink-wide roundtable. When will that be coming out, first of all?
In podcast form on Thursday, and we recorded. We stepped up. I think we followed the lead at Canucks Convo. There will be a video component too, and I don't have an answer, but at some point here to fill the gap over the All-Star break.
And I was on that roundtable, and we kind of looked at the season as a whole so far. What was your biggest takeaway, I guess, from our discussion and really from the Canucks season to this point as we head into the All-Star break?
Is that they have wildly exceeded anybody's expectations. Like, I had them on the bumper of being a playoff team, and go back to Jim Rutherford on the eve of training camp. Everything had to go right. Obviously, on the health front, everything has gone right. The fact that their stars have leveled up, that their additions have all across the board proven to be better, I think, than people figured they would be. And all of it's tied together with Rick Tocchet and his system and his structure. And look, I was as guilty as the next guy. Structure almost became a punchline in this market for a while, but Rick Tocchet has delivered structure. And those 36 games that he got last year, you're seeing that there was value to them. Like when they made the coaching change, I was all aboard the tank for Bedard and take your best chances and see how what you can do with your lottery odds. They felt otherwise, and they wanted to get Rick Tocchet in last January to set all of this in motion. And you're seeing the tangible takeaways now with the way that this team is playing. So I think for me, it's the stars have leveled up even more. Like, we knew that they had this wildly talented roster at the top end. But to see Elias Pettersson backing up a 100-point season, to see JT Miller getting back to the season that he had 2 years ago, Brock Besser, a 30-goal scorer at the All-Star break, and of course, Quinn Hughes being Quinn Hughes, but then being Quinn Hughes plus. The stars have been incredible. It's just been on a nightly basis. It's been so much fun to watch these guys do their thing.
JPET, there's been some speculation or discussion in the market about Nikita Zadorov, whether he could be a possible name that crops up in trade discussions, perhaps because of salary cap purposes. If the Canucks want to add 2 impact players, they'd have to move out another contract besides Kuzmenko's. What do you make of all the discussion around Zadorov right now? And if you were the Canucks, what would you do with him?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of this goes back to the St. Louis game where he didn't play the third period. The one shift and the Blues scored, and he was parked the rest of that night. And then the next night, he's been dropped down to the third pair with Noah Juleson. So I think there are some concerns. A lot of the same things that we said about Tyler Myers. When you're that big, your mistakes just seem louder, and everybody kind of gloms on. Now, he's brought a physical presence, and I do think come playoff time, this team can be a little bit light at times, and you're going to get tested. You're going to get pushed. They're going to get pushed over these final 33 games. And so I like the physical element and the fact that he's been willing to deliver on that front, but there does feel like there is a little bit of a disconnect. And I go back to the night in New Jersey when Carson Soucy was declared fit and ready to get back in the lineup. And the Canucks told us that, Zadorov was day-to-day with something. Never really pushed beyond that, but was he injured, or was he the guy that they chose to bring out of the lineup to get Carson Soucy back in there when it looked like they had a healthy lineup of defensemen that were all playing well? So it was only a 1-game absence for him, but they were out on the road. And so, the storyline, they were winning, that storyline didn't really get pursued. I don't know, but I think that they've got a big decision to make here. If they're going to re-sign him, you got to commit to him both dollars and term. And I wonder if, there is a disconnect there between the coaching staff and the player. I don't know, but this feels like more than just noise. Like, this feels like there is a little bit of smoke around this player right now. And if they've got their eyes on somebody else, they're going to have to clear a little bit of space if they're going to be active here before the deadline. So absolutely, certainly a story to continue to monitor here when they pick up and get back at it next week.
Jeff, over the final 33 games, I don't know how to word this question. I don't know if I want to ask you what's the biggest question you have around this team, or so either that, you can choose which one of these questions you want to answer. Either what's the biggest question facing this team over the final 33 games that you're looking for, or what's the number one thing that you want to see them accomplish over these final 33 games?
Yeah, I mean, the idea of a perfect 60-minute game is a bit of a fallacy, but you saw it on the homestand. Like, they were sloppy in all 5 of those games. Like, they didn't play a clean game, and you're going to get the other team's best. Like, they're not sneaking up on anybody. When you're top of the table at the All-Star break, you're going to get pushed on a lot of nights. And so I think, for these guys that don't have a ton of playoff experience, I think it's great that they're going to be battle tested. And I love how heavy the schedule is over the final 33 with all of these games against Vegas and Colorado and Winnipeg. And, they still have Edmonton and Dallas on the schedule, and they haven't seen Boston yet, but they're going to see Boston. And I think kind of a sneaky start to the start of the unofficial second half here. Carolina has been on fire since Christmas, and then that's followed up by Boston. So 1-2 punch there. And then back-to-back afternoon matinee games, Detroit and Washington. And we know that early starts haven't brought out the best in the Vancouver Canucks. So, can they pick up where they left off? Can they tighten up? Because you're not going to come back probably on a lot of teams. You were able to do it against Columbus, aided by 3 power plays in the third period. But, good teams would put the Canucks away there. And even the wins against Chicago and Arizona, they did what they had to do, but those weren't convincing victories. So, part of me's applauding them for getting 9 of 10 points when they didn't have their best stuff. But man, I'd love to get them back to where they were for those 3 games in New Jersey and the 2 New York teams. That's to me where they played maybe their best hockey of the season. So again, you aspire to that. There's no guarantee you're going to get that, but I just love the fact that the final 33, all these massive games where in years gone by, you thought, kind of watch them with, one hand over your eyes. Now, I mean, bring it on. They have put themselves in a position where they can barge through all of these visiting Rink's front doors and say, we're the Canucks and we're here and we mean business. And they're going to give other teams a game, and I'm sure other teams will give them a game, but that's exciting for fans. It's exciting for us that cover this team. And I think for the players, they want to prove that the first 49 games haven't been any sort of mirage, and they haven't been. They have earned their keep to this point. But I just I look at the schedule and I just, man, night after night after night over the final 33, there are so many rich storylines. It's going to be an absolute blast to cover.
Our recap of the first 49 games of this season will be out on Thursday on Rink Wide Vancouver. Check it out wherever you get your podcasts. It was me, Irfan Gafar, and of course, Jeff Paterson. Jeff, thanks so much for doing this. Enjoy the break, my friend.
Yeah, you guys as well. And I look forward to seeing the draft here and really looking forward to this final 33 of the regular season that are all just a prelude to the games that really matter. Playoff hockey coming back to Vancouver this season.
Good stuff as always. Thanks, Jeff. All right, that was Jeff Paterson. Okay, let's get to this All-Star draft. I've been looking forward to this for a while. Okay.
I agree with J-Pat. I should be able to take McKinnon with the first pick to steal him from you.
I thought Jeff was making a joke that he would just pick another captain. And I was fully on board with that strategy. I was going to start using it as well. Anyways, do you want to set this up at all? Like the drafting, like we explained it on yesterday's episode. So I guess we'll do it again. 4 teams, me, Harmon, Grady, and Lachlan. Lachlan's got our screen here. Can we pull this up, Grady? Lachlan's screen that's going to have our draft board. So you'll see the draft board there. That's how we're going to keep track of the team. So the people in the YouTube live chat, which I apologize, I haven't even opened yet. I got to get on that. They are going to see who we're drafting. And then in the end, we're going to see who has the best team. And also, Harmon brought this up yesterday. We have to assume that everybody's trying. Like, this isn't like, oh, okay, well, he's not going to backchecker. It's an all-star game, blah, blah, blah. This is like a best-on-best 3-on-3 tournament. These guys are all trying their hardest. We're seeing who comes up with the best lineup. Harmon is with Michael Bublé. He starts with Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson. Grady is team Justin Bieber. He starts with Austin Matthews.
How did I get Bieber?
Because you're from Toronto. Austin Matthews and Morgan Riley. You got a Toronto area code when you text me.
I went to school there and I worked at TSN.
Austin Matthews and Morgan Riley is who Grady starts with fittingly. Lachlan is with Will Arnett and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are the 2 players he starts with. I called her early, my girl Tate McRae. Nate McKinnon and Cale Makar are who we start with from the Colorado Avalanche. Okay, let me just quickly take a look at
one other thing. So there's, I believe, only 4 total defensemen who are all-stars. So we made a rule that Lachlan doesn't have any defensemen. So I honestly, my initial thought was I'm going to grab Rasmus Dahlin with my first pick, and I'm going to be the only team that can always have a defenseman on the ice. But we were like, okay, that's kind of unfair. Yeah. So we're leaving Lachlan to be able to draft Dahlin. Yeah. And
I have to take him with my second pick.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm in the YouTube live chat. We'll get to the draft in a sec. I want you to open the YouTube live chat because there are so many comments about your turtleneck. I like it. I like your turtleneck, for the record. Yeah, there are some that I can't even read on air. They're pretty good.
I haven't. Okay, one sec.
You should take a look at the YouTube live. Make sure your phone's muted. Look at the YouTube live chat. It's good. There's a lot of good comments. I'm not going to read them all. I'm not going to read any, actually. It's great. It's good.
Can I read mine? I said Harm definitely passes the eye test today.
Okay.
Ooh.
I said your fit per 60 is off the charts.
Okay, one sec.
Before we get to the draft quads, we should mention that the segment is brought to you by
4 Winds Brewing. Family owned and operated in Delta, home to the 4 Winds Light Lager, a crisp, clean, and easy drinking beer, a beer for everyone, a perfect beer for before, after, or during the game. You got a fantasy draft coming up? Are you and your pals drafting the All-Star team? Pick up some 4 Winds Light Lager for your draft party. Ask for 4 Winds Light Lager at your local liquor store or have some delivered right to your door through the online shop at 4windsbrewing.ca. Okay, let's get to it. Oh, you're reading the chat?
Yeah, these are hilarious.
Did you see the Don Cherry one?
Yeah.
That was good. That cracked me up.
And then the follow-up being Harm about to drop a "you people."
That's so good.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, there's some pretty good comments. Anyways, also Wyatt.
Where's your poppy?
Wyatt about Tate McRae said most mid pop star on the market. So I've brought this up before. My girlfriend went to see Tate McRae in concert, and she likes Tate McRae. We both do. She's like, yeah, she wasn't very good in person. So I'm really curious because she's performing at the All-Star game. I was listening to her album front to back on the drive home yesterday, and I was, there's a lot of auto-tune. It's poppy, right? It's pop music. I'm assuming she'll do some dancing because that's what her biggest talent is. But I'm wondering what a live Tate McRae performance for the All-Star. I'm thinking my girl's about to get roasted when she performs at the All-Star game, but we'll see. I'll be cheering for her. My co-captain. All right, let's get to this draft. Can we pull up the draft board here, Grady? Okay, Harmon, you have the first pick.
I am going to take David Pastrnak.
David Pastrnak with the first pick. Harmon Dial going with David Pastrnak. All right. Grady, you have the next pick.
Nikita Kucherov.
Nikita Kucherov. All right, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up. We're going real fast here. I can't even find
They're
Kucherov
supposed
there.
to announce their hometown.
You have to congratulate the
Yeah.
Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah. Thank everybody for...
Let's all watch Lachlan try to scramble to get everything.
Dude, this is
updated
me
here.
doing it. Lachlan, I told
this is you
Lachlan
doing
not
it?
to. Well, I told Lachlan
because
not
I can't
to.
move. I
Yeah.
can't move
Right.
it. Otherwise, the board will.
Grady, you do
disappear.
it.
No.
Why? You
I got
just
too
dragged the
many
names.
things.
Okay. Lachlan, you have the next pick.
Oh man, I think I'm gonna have to take. Sam Reinhart.
Sam Reinhart. I thought you were supposed to take Dolly.
No, that's my.
I know. I'm just joking. I'm having some fun. All right. I found a better way to do this.
Okay.
All right. Do I have the next pick? Okay,
Yeah.
give me a second. I gotta keep up.
And
here.
can we clarify? Is this a snake draft or is it?
This is a snake draft. Yeah,
Okay.
so it's gonna go. So Quads is gonna pick
Quads.
twice in a row here,
Yes.
and then it'll come back. It'll come back
Oh,
to me, then
okay.
you, Grady, and then Harm.
And I need to know: do you guys all have your big boards going? You got your own draft rankings you're relying on here?
No, I did zero prep.
Oh, okay.
Kinda.
Classic.
I
All
might
vibes.
take Elias Lindholm right here. I'm just kidding.
Please do.
Who do I have? Okay, I got McCarr, McKinnon. You know what? Shoring it up early. Going with Thatcher Demko.
I knew you were going to take a goalie with one of these picks.
The first pick, did you think I was going to do that?
Well, you had back-to-back, so I figured one of them was going to be a goalie.
And then with my second pick, you can see it on the board, folks. It's a Van player. It's JT Miller. JT Miller is coming to the team. Lachlan, you have the next pick.
Okay, I think I'm gonna go with.
After his reach pick with Reinhardt,
It was a bit of a panic pick because honestly, I wanted to take Pasternak, but then
Also,
that's why you
Lachlan-
need your big board, man.
Lachlan, I
I've got my-
regret to inform you
Oh, yes.
that
oh right, actually, I don't have to think
for
about this pick.
measuring the players' skulls, you have been forced to take Rasmus Dahlin.
Did you just compare me to John Shaka? How
did.
dare you?
Grady, you have the next pick.
Connor Hellebuck.
Connor Hellebuck, solid pick. All right, Harm.
I'm going to take... One sec here. I'm going to take Sidney Crosby. And
that was my
then
next pick.
with my...
Someone pointed it out that I was about to take Crosby in the chat.
And then with my next pick, I'm going to take... Because I'm going to back to back here. I'm going to take Jeremy Swayman.
Jeremy Swayman. Okay, the goalie's
Like
going
that.
early.
He's
I
got
like
a career
it.
921 save percentage.
Boston sending back-to-back All-Star goaltenders, but different goalies. I don't know how often that's happened in NHL history.
Okay, Grady, you have the next pick.
We are going with, oh man, William Nylander.
William Nylander. Very nice. Of course, you go Toronto.
I'm
Lachlan.
a Toronto man's apparently.
Lachlan, you have the next pick.
I'm also going to take a goaltender. I'm
Okay.
going to take Igor Shesterkin.
Nice. This was last year. That's a great pick.
He's
I'm
got an
joking.
899 save percentage
He's
this
gonna
year.
get lit up.
Uh-oh, something happened
I
here.
feel like he's going to try in the All-Star game, though. I think I've got the best odds with a goaltender who will put in the effort.
All right, clearly you guys haven't looked at All-Star game stats because I'm
Oh, they
taking a
mean so
former
much.
MVP in the All-Star game, Brock Besser.
You're just a homer.
That's
You're just
right.
drafting like a-
I say it every episode. Okay, I have the next pick as well. Okay, I am gonna go with. Oh, this is an interesting pick. I'm gonna go with Kirill Kaprizov with my next pick.
Have you watched him this year?
Yeah, but it's an All-Star
He's
game.
on fire.
He's
lately.
been
Yeah,
better.
exactly. It's an All-Star game, and he's been better. I'm mopping the floor with you guys. I just want to point that out.
No, you're
Lachlan,
not.
you have the next pick.
I don't want to get stuck with one of the last straggler goaltenders here, so I'm going to take Jake Ottinger.
All right,
Mitch Marner.
Mitch
I'm
Marner.
going full Toronto man's.
I love it.
Everyone's gonna hate me in the
So
chat, but I'll let my
after-
talent speak for itself.
So after this, we're going to put this out there on Twitter, and we're gonna see who had the best draft. We're gonna let the people on Twitter decide who had the best draft out of everybody that is drafted.
Put your
today.
Toronto anti-Toronto bias aside. That's
You gotta
all I
hope the
ask.
Leafs Nation account retweets. Harmon,
Okay,
you have the
hold
next
on.
pick.
Why did you take two goalies?
You need to.
because you need to.
Also,
Yeah, but
He
there's
said
a goalie
he didn't.
section.
He said he didn't want. The
I didn't want to get
goalie-
stuck with specifically. I didn't want to get stuck with Georgiev, so I wanted to take him
but
quickly.
you're probably not going to use your backup, are you?
No, so in the All-Star game, you use both goaltenders. So one plays the first half of the game, and then the other plays.
But
the
we're
second half.
assuming it's just
No,
the
ride it
3-on-3.
I don't know. We never discussed this.
Also, whoever's filling this out, quads, there's clearly a section that says G1 and G2, which you've ignored
Oh,
here.
yeah, I'll fix that. Oh, sorry, producer not doing this? What the hell? Yeah, I got it. I'll fix that. Okay. So, sorry, who is the next pick?
I think I go back to back here.
Yeah.
Do I?
Yeah, you
All
do.
right, one sec.
I'm fixing the goalie thing.
I like my team so far, other than the fact that I didn't end up with a single Canuck.
Okay, I fixed it. This is great audio for those on the podcast.
Yeah, that's why I'm just trying to talk to add a little bit of.
Harmon's really giving
I'm
this a
doing
lot of thought.
Uh,
Harmon's looking up the Corsi of the guy he wants
No.
to pick.
What do you think of your team so far, Quads?
I really like it. I think a lot of Canucks, obviously. And I don't know. Like, I'm thinking Kaprizov is going to be a nice addition to the team. Like, I honestly, and not to give All-Star game takes too much, but I honestly think Kaprizov's going to have a solid tournament. Like, I think he's going to be good in the All-Star game.
I'm going to grab with my first one, Clayton Keller.
Clayton Keller.
Ooh, like that.
Very good pick.
And then
Do we have a time clock?
all right, one sec,
10
one sec.
seconds.
This is taking a while, Harm. I don't think you need to think this much. I tell you that a lot, though.
I'll go Sebastian Aho.
I was going to say that's probably the safe pick there. Grady, you have the next pick. Please don't take as long as Harm.
We're gonna muck it up a little here, and we're gonna get Travis Konechny.
Travis
Start
Konechny.
bullying you, little.
All right. All
gremlins.
right. Okay, Lachlan, you have the next pick. Please don't take a goalie.
I can't. I've already used my two. I think I'm gonna go with Vinny Trocheck.
Vinny
Late ad.
Trocheck. Interesting pick. Oh, I put that on the wrong spot. Okay. Vinny Trocheck. I like it. Let's see. Who am I going to go with? Is there any Canucks left on the board? Can I trade for a Canuck? Oh, there's a Canuck. No, I'm not going to do it yet. Not going to do it just yet. Harmon knows exactly where
Yeah.
I'm going with
I was
this.
gonna say
I'm going to also muck it up. I'm going to go with Brady Tkachuk. I got
Can't
two
skate in
picks.
3-on-3.
That's okay. He's going to finish. He's my finisher. You want someone that can skate? Do you want someone that can skate? Matt Barzal. That's my pick. All right, Lachlan, you have the next pick.
I think I need a goal scorer. I think I gotta go Alex DeBrincat.
Alex DeBrincat. Nice pick. All right, Grady.
Kyle Connor.
Why am I not? Oh, yeah, I almost forgot where DeBrincat plays now. Okay, there we go. This is all right, Harmon.
So I've got two in a row here.
You do. Try and slow down, actually. You can talk us through your thought process here. What does your team need?
Okay. I'm just looking to grab the best player available here.
Okay.
I think I have a good mix of two-way forwards and offensive talent in the sense that like Paterson's a good two-way forward, Crosby's good two-way, Aho's good two-way. So I like the balance of this team. I'm gonna go with Phil Forsberg. He's on fire this year.
Nice. He's been shooting a lot. Like he's
Yeah.
taken a lot of shots in recent games.
He's been nuts, and
Yeah.
he plays on the top line with Gus Nyquist and Ryan O'Reilly. Now imagine
just
him playing
feed
with
him.
like Crosby or something. He's gonna go.
Yeah,
off.
your team. Yeah, okay. Harmon's got a pretty good team here.
And then I'm also gonna go with sticking with the good 2A players who are having monster years. I'm gonna go with Robert Thomas.
Beautiful. Good choice. Is he a center?
Yeah.
Thought that was Jordan Kyrou. All right.
Back-
Grady, you have
Back
the next
to my
pick.
bag of pricks. Tom Wilson.
Okay.
Let's get inject fear into you buggers.
You literally look like you have a Bradtree Living constructed team.
Truculence.
Lachlan.
I'm gonna go with another late addition to the All-Star game. I'm gonna go with Jesper Bratt.
That's actually a solid
Yeah.
pick. Solid pick. And for those that hadn't seen it today, Jack Hughes is not going to the All-Star game. Elias Pettersson is a co-captain with Quinn Hughes. That is why Harmon has both Hughes and Pettersson to start it. It's going to be him, or excuse me, those two players, and Michael Bublé. All right, I got the next two picks. You know I'm doing it. I'm going with two future Canucks. Frank Vetrano, and Elias Lindholm. I know those aren't the best picks, but one's from my Wagon Ducks and one's from a name I say on every episode. Those are my picks. Lachlan, you have the next pick.
I'm going to go with a guy who was very excited to be an All-Star and wasn't at all disappointed that it canceled his vacation plans. I'm going to go with Oliver Bjorkstrand.
Very good pick. Grady, your final pick, or we have two picks
left.
Yeah.
Give me Jake Ottinger.
Jake Ottinger.
I have Jake Ottinger.
Oh,
you do?
yeah, he does.
You do. Okay. Well then, Nick Suzuki.
Do you think it'll actually be like the worst players that go last in this year's draft?
It should have been Bjorkstrand.
Yeah.
But Team Lachlan's just constantly reaching in this draft.
Going back to back here for my final, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I am gonna grab Talbot. He's been good this year.
Yeah.
And I'll grab Hurdle. He'd be way better on a non-San Jose team.
Very good. Grady, your final pick. One of the goaltenders.
Bobrovsky.
Nice. Oh, shoot. I get left with Georgia. All right. Lachlan, your final pick.
I think I have to take the last forward, right? Which is Boone Jenner.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Boone Jenner. And Alexander Georgiev is the final pick of the draft.
He's the Phil Kessel.
I'm going to turn him around. We're going to turn his game around.
Should start him so you can get lit up.
All right, so everybody take a look in the chat. Let us know which team you like the best. Jeremy Lee said Harm's team is well crafted and the most balanced.
I think so too.
A lot of people say Harm's team, or Andrew Christensen said Harm's team is for sure number one. Pim Strong said the exact same thing. Far and away number one. Folks, tell us who's got the best one. Grady, can we get a poll with 4 options? Can we get a poll in the YouTube live chat here? Jeremy Lee said, but quads is the most exciting because there's no defense.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I was looking at your guys. You don't have any two-way forwards aside from Lindholm.
Yeah. To get,
He's not.
He got Selke votes when he wasn't even playing.
Okay, but like
defense.
one Selke vote does not count.
2 Selke votes means you were getting Selke votes.
Your Selke vote does not count.
I've never voted him Selke. I've never put him on my Selke ballot. But anyways, people, let us know. Oh, we're getting quads in the chat. I love this. Okay, here we go.
Mine's the meanest. Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
Andrew Christensen. Harm number 1, Grady 2, quads 3, Lachlan 4. Jay says quads. Justin McKenzie says team quads. Jeremy Lee, Grady's is the meanest. Wyatt says Harm. Pim Henstrong said Harm, Grady's, quads, then Lachlan's. Does anybody not think Lachlan has the worst team?
I think honestly, I think I have the worst. I also think I have the worst team.
Dude, you took Reinhardt like with your
that was way too early.
It was, you know what it was? It was
panicked.
I absolutely panicked, and then of course Harmon's taken a bunch of time clock violations. Whereas I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to waste any time.
He should
this
have
isn't my show.
Harmon should have had to forfeit his pick.
For podcast, should we list out our teams quickly?
Yes, we should.
Yes,
Grady,
great idea.
Grady, people in the chat saying there's no sound. Do we have sound?
Oh. There should be.
I think so. Okay. Hopefully you can hear this, folks. Yeah, people thought I unplugged everything because my team was bad. Okay, let's recap our teams for the podcast. I'll let each person do it. So Harmon, give us your team from top to bottom.
Yeah, Captain Quinn Hughes, assistant captain Elias Paterson, then David Pastrnak, Sidney Crosby, Clayton Keller, Sebastian Aho, Philip Forsberg, Robert Thomas, Tomas Hurdle, and then between the pipes, Jeremy Swayman and Cam Talbot.
Grady, let's see your team.
Leading goal scorer, Austin Matthews, Morgan Riley. Leading point producer, Nikita Kucherov, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, Travis Konechny, Kyle Connor, Tom Wilson, Nick Suzuki. In goal, Connor Hellebuck and Sergei Bobrovsky.
Lachlan.
I've got future Hart Trophy winner Connor McDavid with Leon Draisaitl as his assistant captain. Then I've got Sam Reinhart, Rasmus Dahlin, Vinny Trocheck, Alex DeBrincat, Jesper Bratt, Oliver Bjorkstrand, Boone Jenner, Igor Shesterkin, and Jake Ottinger.
Like you, I also went for a future Hart Trophy winner. So I've got JT Miller. Nathan McKinnon is my captain. Tate McRae is my assistant, I should mention. Kale McCarr is another assistant captain. Kirill Kaprizov, like I said, JT Miller, Brock Besser, Brady Tkachuk, Matt Barzell, Frank Vetrano, Elias Lindholm, and Thatcher Demko. Realistically, I tried to pick as many Canucks as possible.
You didn't say Georgiev. Trying to.
Oh, yeah, he's not playing. He's not getting in. Yeah, Alex Georgiev is my final pick as well. All right, so this was fun. This was a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll get it out on Twitter, see who wins, and we'll be back on Monday to talk about it. I'm sure we'll have some reaction. Of course, we'll have the actual All-Star game to talk about as well. It's time for anyone else, but before we do that, we need to tell you about that sponsor I brought up yesterday, folks, Seagram's VO. Seagram's VO Select Canadian Whiskey, artfully blended and impeccably crafted. Make it your very own. Originally introduced back in the early 1900s, Seagram's VO was designed as a wedding gift from Joseph E. Seagram for his son. Joseph E. Seagram liked it so much, he put it out on the market, and the rest was history. Seagram's VO went on to become one of the most successful whiskeys to ever come from Canada. Seagram's VO Select is currently available in select BC liquor stores, so visit the Seagram's VO Select page on the BC Liquor Store's website to purchase or find it in your nearest liquor store.
My family's very own whiskey, barrel-aged and set apart, marked with VO, artfully blended, impeccably crafted, as a wedding gift to my son, for the bride and groom. And now, over a century later, from our very own family to yours, a legacy rooted in whiskey. Seagram's VO, growing deeper, reaching out, raising a glass to your legacy. Seagram's VO, make it your very own.
A nice looking bottle, I'll tell you that. All right, time for anyone else, presented by DoorDash. It's our listeners' chance to get involved and hit us up in the YouTube live chat, and it's also our listeners' chance to get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when they use the code NATION25. That's all capital letters, NATION, and the numbers 25 for 25% off and free delivery on your first order with DoorDash. Offer valid in Canada, subject to change, terms apply. With Double Dash on DoorDash, you can order from multiple restaurants or stores in the same delivery without additional delivery fees, so everyone can get what they want and need. Okay, really, it's anyone else, but I'm just curious who people think has the best team. I'm curious if we got more people saying quads. No, it looks like Harmon by quite a bit. Harmon has the best team. How is Lachlan so bad, is what one person asked.
Listen, I'm just saying that with the disrespect my team is getting in the chat, they're going to come out hungry and they're going to shock the world. That's all I'll say.
He was gifted McDavid, still has the worst team.
Truly. I can't listen. I can't defend it. It was not a good draft for me. Today was not our day.
Oh,
I'm
man.
not gonna lie. I think Grady was dealt the poorest hand because Morgan Riley as his defenseman.
Come
That's kind of
on.
tough. No, you picked Toronto.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you
Quad just
did.
signed it to
I didn't
me.
assign anything.
Claims I'm from Toronto. Get that out of here.
And plus, you doubled down. You took Marner and Nylander.
Well, yeah, then
You
I had
expect
to
win
erase
anything.
it.
You
'Cause
expect to win anything?
I want to see how critically our chat is at thinking here. They can put their biases aside. because
Totally.
on paper, sorry, Harm, I'm taking my team over yours.
I know you just have
am.
so many proven playoff performers that they're going to be so good in a tournament.
Oh, this is playoffs now? Okay.
Well, it's a
Well,
tournament.
yeah,
play-
it's a tournament
Do they
to
play
win
3-on-3 in playoffs? No, they don't.
No, but it's a tournament, so the
You're
Leafs
trying to win
in the
something.
first round. Okay, I love this. This is great. This is a lot of fun. Does anybody have anything else that they want us to talk about? Okay, we had something that we wanted to talk about. Nikita Zadorov. Lachlan broke this down for us over at Canucks Army. That article is going to be up shortly after the show comes to a conclusion. But basically, today's Tuesday. On Monday morning, we heard Elliot Friedman throw out Nikita Zadorov's name on the Jeff Merrick show. And basically what Friedman said was just that Zadorov might represent a potential option for the Canucks to clear some cap space alongside Andrei Kuzmenko, who obviously we know is probably going to get moved ahead of the March 8th trade deadline. What's your reaction to all this?
I'm not too surprised, honestly, because Trance and I were working on an article over the weekend, sort of doing trade tiers, and Zadorov was one of the players we had in a section called Not Moving Unless There's a Blockbuster, which is to say we expect Zadorov is most likely to stick around. But our thought process before any of this reporting had come out was, okay, if the Canucks have to make, not that they have to, but if they decide, okay, we want to go out and we want 2 marquee additions, one up front, one on the back end, then again, you're going to have to move out another contract besides Kuzmenko. Now, Myers is obviously an option, and we included him in the same category as Zadorov in that tier of probably not moving. But if there are a couple blockbusters that the Canucks make, it's not out of question. But the thing to also keep in mind with Myers is that he has a 10-team no trade list, so that could provide complications if the Canucks go down that route. So I'm not shocked, honestly. I personally am of the mindset that I don't think the Canucks need a back end upgrade. I think they're perfectly fine just making a big top six acquisition and leaving the blue line as is, especially because I like Zadorov as a player. I think he, in addition to his physicality and toughness, which I think matters in the playoffs, when he's at his best, he moves the puck pretty well, at least at a competent level for a bottom four defenseman. I've seen a lot of plays where, because of his skating, he can beat the first layer of forecheck pressure. So I think he's been a decent fit. Now, that isn't to say I'm in the camp that's saying, oh, the Canucks should extend Zadorov, but I think he'd be a useful piece to keep for the playoffs.
Now, I know he's fallen out of favor a little bit lately. We've seen some benchings. We've seen his ice time a little bit more limited, but this is still a guy I want around in playoffs. And I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again. As much as he's in the rumors, and I get shedding cap space might be important because they might go want to get an upgrade, I'd be curious who that upgrade might be. And again, like you said, if it's part of a blockbuster, okay, maybe you're fine with it. But if it's just to clear cap space and go get another guy, I don't hate Zadorov's fit on this team to the extent where I'm like thinking, okay, you need to go get somebody else. You need to go find a replacement for him. It's not a Kuzmenko situation, right? Like with Kuzmenko, it's okay, he doesn't fit on this team. This team is trying to compete this year. They don't have time for Kuzmenko to go through a sophomore slump, and they don't have time to allow Kuzmenko to figure it out if he's ever going to figure it out in Vancouver. They don't have time to wait for that to happen. So we expect Kuzmenko to be moved. Zadorov, I'd be a lot more cautious about just throwing it out there that, you just go upgrade Zadorov by getting rid of his cap space and going to bring someone else in on the trade market. I'd be cautious with that because I do really like Zadorov's fit on this team. I think he brings a lot in terms of just his size and his intimidation factor. Like that matters a lot in the playoffs. And I would think twice before moving on from Nikita Zadorov for this team.
Even if you do reduce his minutes and you don't fully trust him, it's totally fine to have him on your third pair.
Yeah, exactly.
Like playing 15 minutes a night, sure, maybe it's not the role that he thought he was getting when he came here, but that's a good player to have on your third pair. Not to mention if you end up in a situation where mid-game a guy goes down with an injury, or somebody like an Ian Cole takes a penalty and is in the box, or Myers takes a 5-minute major and is done for the game, and you need somebody on your bottom pair to elevate and play 18, 19 minutes, Zadorov's a perfect guy to do that.
Yeah. And that was going to be kind of where I was going with it, is that you subtract him out of the lineup and you're bringing in an unknown. Well, now all of a sudden you're kind of messing with the hierarchy of the defense core. And there's no guarantees that the new guy you're bringing in, unless it's say like Chris Tanev, for example, you put him with Hughes, it's a short time from the deadline into the postseason where teams have to mesh. So that also has to be considered too here. And to your point, Quads, they brought him in, of course, to get through the regular season, but guys like him come alive in the playoffs. And we saw what Vegas did with their monster D-core last year, and he's fit pretty well overall. So, this is an interesting one because the reports out there is that there may be some issues inside the dressing room, and none of us really truly know that. The ones that do are inside that dressing room. So, it's informed speculation, but you just got to make sure that if you are going to move him, you're guaranteed to be upgrading your team. And I'm not so sure that, that's a slam dunk.
I think the intangibles are the most interesting for playoff bets. Hopefully this is where Ian Cole's leadership will shine, said Jeremy Lee, as we're on the topic of defensemen in the playoffs. I think he's just important. I think he's just important in the playoffs for Nikita Zadorov. I think you want to keep a guy like that. But again, who knows what they'll end up doing. If they do decide to move on from him, you'd expect, obviously, it would be to make another move for a guy that they really, really believe will be an upgrade on this team. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, okay, let's go to this one. I'll ask you this one, Harm. From Jesse C. What traits specifically would the Canucks be looking for in players to play with Elias Pettersson? Mikheyev's speed, Kuzmenko his hands and shot. Is it just pure intelligence that they're looking for?
I think intelligence definitely ranks highly for me because Pettersson's a player that is gonna to mesh with Paterson, you're going to need to see the same plays that he does and read off of his spacing, his timing, the give and goes. That's what Kuzmenko was good at last year. And why he was so successful was, okay, he wasn't the fastest guy. It's not like he was beating goalies from distance a ton, but he had the skill and the intelligence to sort of read off of him. Obviously, it hasn't worked out this year, but intelligence definitely stands out to me. One player that I'm sure we're going to talk about a little bit further along that sort of intrigues me is, and maybe this changes because now all of a sudden they're back in the playoff race, but if St. Louis decides that Pavel Buchnevich, who is a free agent, not at the end of this year, but the year after, if he ends up becoming available, I would be all over that because first of all, you get this guy for multiple playoff runs. Second, he's already been a top line producer, which, I mean, this year he's got 39 points in 46 games. The year before that, 26 goals and 67 points in 63 games. Year before that, 76 points in 73 games. Like, he's a guy that's going to produce in the around the point per game mark. He's got decent size, right? I think he's at 6'1", around 200 pounds, and he looks heavy. Yeah. I believe he can kill penalties. He's a responsible two-way forward, and he's a legit play driver too. He's not just a pure complimentary player. So he's somebody that over the last few days I've been looking at and going, man, I would love this guy to play.
Not just a rental, because he's got another year after this one at $5.8 million. Are you looking at it and saying, okay, this is a guy who, because he can drive play, he could play anywhere in your lineup? Like, he doesn't have to be Elias Pettersson's winger. He doesn't have to be JT Miller's winger. He could be on either of those top six lines.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, think about it this way. If in the playoffs you end up in a situation where you're using Miller and Besser in a matchup role, and for whatever reason, let's say that left winger is not working in that situation. Maybe it's Pia Suter, and you're looking at this line in a playoff series to go up against a McDavid line. Well, you can bump, if you wanted to, Buchnevich down, and because of his two-way chops, he's absolutely a player you can trust to sort of play in a shutdown role as well.
So I've been poking around on Frank Saravalli's trade targets board, which is constantly being updated, folks, ahead of the trade deadline over at dailyfaceoff.com. The top right tab there says trade targets. You go click that. It's the latest trade targets board that Frank Saravalli has put together through his conversations that he has around the league. Pavel Buchnevich not yet on that list. So Harm, I ask you this. Do you think the St. Louis Blues will be wanting to move on from Pavel Buchnevich?
It'll cost. And of course, them getting back into this playoff race does complicate things. But the thing to keep in mind is you look at Doug Armstrong's history. He hasn't been afraid to trade players for a return if he doesn't see them as part of a long-term fit, even if they're in a playoff race. So the Blues traded Kevin Shattenkirk, for example, to the Caps, even though they were in a playoff race. And I think they did the same. They did the same thing with Paul Stastny too. Correct me if I'm wrong. That year in Winnipeg.
Yep.
So twice they've traded players, and those situations were a little bit different because those guys were pending UFAs. But the point I'm trying to make is Buchnevich is a player who turns 29 in April, meaning by the time his next contract begins, he's going to be 30. So if you're the Blues and you're thinking, we're retooling, our timeline to win isn't now, it's not within the next 2 years, this may be our best opportunity to maximize Buchnevich's trade value. And again, Armstrong's history is he doesn't really care if they're in a playoff race. He's still willing to sometimes make that decision for the long-term interests for his franchise. Then, I mean, it would take a lot, but I'm not looking at him like I am, let's say, Travis Konechny, right? Travis Konechny, I look at and go, he's like that face of franchise player for Philadelphia. I just can't see any scenario where
and Philly has their clear, I shouldn't say clear, but they're in that window where they think they're competing, right? Like they're trying to do their retool, but they think they're done their retool, right? Like
I don't think so.
Well, Philly's not rebuilding, right? Like they're going to be continuously trying to make that team good, and Konechny is part of the answer, I think, is what they'd feel.
But the point is, like, I don't think Buchnevich is, like, if I'm Doug Armstrong, the pieces you're building around right now are Robert Thomas, who's your number one seed, and Kyrou, both of them, especially age-related wise. So, let me put it this way. I don't think Buchnevich would be an untouchable.
Not in the same conversation as Joel Eriksson. That's what people in the chat are asking. Okay.
It's almost like Philip Peronic, like last year, how the Canucks ended up with him because he wasn't on the trade market.
That's a great point. Nobody really knew he was out there, and one call changes everything. So hey, maybe there's going to be a call for Pavel Buchnevich.
And to Jesse's point from before, like what traits are you looking for a guy to play with Paterson? Well, Buchnevich checks a lot of those boxes. And what I think he needs is a finisher, right? How many chances have we seen this year with Mikheyev and Kuzmenko? They're just not either in the right position, or they're missing passes, or just, the puck touches aren't there. Buchnevich would fill that role pretty well.
That's a great point, Grady. That's a really good point. The stylistic fit. I like that. And Harmon, obviously, you mentioned that as well. 6'3", big boy. Honestly, I didn't know Buchnevich was a bigger player like that.
And I think he can play, like he's listed at left wing, but when he was in New York, he played the right wing too. So versatile guy that can.
Yeah, and they're looking for that versatility, right? That
yeah,
can
of course.
Move guys around in the lineup, and he has a bit of a prickly side to him. Remember the game against the Canucks not too long ago? I think he kind of bumped Demko. Demko was pretty pissed off at him, went over to him, and so you're looking for a guy that might be able to turn it on in the playoffs. That might be a pretty good option.
I actually want to check this. He's Russian, so I want to see who his agent is.
Check it. Pimpen Strong saying, please do not trade for Colton Parayko. Yeah, Colton Parayko's contract is not one that you want to be adding to your books.
It's not Dan
Milstein. Okay. All right. I think that's it. I think that's it for anyone else. We'll close it out right there. We'll get to our Betway Bet of the Day, and then we'll wrap it up for the weekend. It's a long weekend for us. Of course, we have the All-Star game and some other stuff going on, and Monday we will be back. But let's get to our Betway Bet of the Day, brought to you by, you guessed it, Betway. Done. See that bet, Harmon? You see that bet? A $10 bet on the San Jose Sharks to beat the Seattle Kraken tonight, defending the Tank. Is it called the Tank? Their home place? Would you call it?
Shark
Yes,
Tank.
it is the Shark Tank.
It's called the Shark Tank? That's really funny because they're tanking for Celebrini. A $10 bet at plus 190 odds for the Sharks to beat the Seattle Kraken tonight returns you $29 over on Betway. It must be 90 plus play. If you choose to play, please play responsibly.
We should mention, Quads, the last time you took the Sharks on your Betway Bet of the Day, it came through just like the Brady Tkachuk goal last night. How about that?
280 odds as well. It was insane that they actually won that game. These are much better odds, plus 190. Much better odds. And the Brady Tkachuk goal as well hit last night. So we'll close it out there. For my co-host, Harmon Dial, technical producer Grady Sass, and our intern, Lachlan Irvin, my name is Dave Gugelli. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Canucks Conversation. Canucks Conversation with Harmon and Quads every weekday at 2 p.m. Be sure to check it out on the Canucks Army YouTube channel. And if you missed it, go check it out on your favorite podcast catcher app.